Now we get to talk about one of my other favorite topics. Of course, it's coronavirus lockdowns. But with a little bit of a twist. We're going to be taking a look at what's happening right now in Australia, and we're also going to some late-breaking, heartbreaking news coming out of the UK, because remember when I reported when Boris Johnson first announced the lockdowns, he said that they were going to lift on December 3rd, and I was like, yeah, that fucking shit ain't going to happen. And you guys out there were also like, yeah, that shit ain't going to fucking happen. And I think we're all going to be proven right on that one. But as you can see here, this is from the South Australian Police Department, and right now, the southern part of Australia, I'm not too sure which province or which state that is, but hi, Andrea, reporting to a lady asking if her husband could take her dog out for a walk. You cannot leave the house to walk the dog or to exercise. You have to stay inside your house for absolutely every reason. The only reason you can leave is if you're going to the grocery store, and only one person from your household is allowed to exit. Guess how many coronavirus cases? Well, more specifically, how many deaths they had there yesterday. Just guess. You guys can see the numbers there. Nobody died yesterday. They've had 907 deaths, 27,789 cases, 5 new cases yesterday. Does that justify becoming a prison state? Well, and in Australia's case, once again, I highly doubt that. That's also the third time that they've gone under a severe lockdown since February, or March rather. Yeah, seems like a bit of an over-exaggeration. So all of these people that are clamoring for lockdowns in states that don't require them, all you're doing is just killing off your economy under the auspices of trying to keep everybody safe for something that really only affects the horrifically old. And not to diminish the value of any life out there, but should we be all sheltering in place? And literally, what the fuck does it say here? You cannot leave the house to walk the dog or to exercise. Under those conditions, nobody's dying. 5 new cases. Oh, it's working because there's lockdowns. That means nobody's transmitting it. Fuck off. You're going to shut down your entire economy. That's fine. All right, Sammy Strawman, I understand I'm not talking to anybody legitimate right now, but yeah, doesn't really seem to add up. Like I said, they've gone under 3 tyrannical lockdowns, and have they cured it? No? Okay, everybody who's pointing to the Australian model as, oh, they've solved the coronavirus pandemic, and if we would just lock down totally, we wouldn't have to deal with it. Or how about every time that a coronavirus potential spike pops up, yeah, we're just going to lock down the entire country? Stupid. You're fucking stupid. But let's get into the facts. South Australia enters circuit breaker coronavirus lockdown, and you're never going to guess how they entered this lockdown. Oh boy, I can't wait to enter the next article here. The Australian state of South Australia, real ingenious and inspired naming there, is entering a mandatory lockdown lasting 6 days. That begins midnight Thursday local time, with residents required to stay at home to stop the spread of the virus. So many cases. Officials, and remember, that was for the entire country, those numbers were. Officials said that many outdoor activities, including exercise outside the home, are prohibited. Hi, Andrea, you cannot leave the house to walk the dog or to exercise. Somebody's lying here. Facial coverings in public are mandatory. Interesting. Oh yeah, and like it says here, officials have said many outdoor activities, including exercise outside of the home, are prohibited. Conflicting reports. Official sources have called this differently. Only one person per household is permitted to leave the home on a single day for essential activities. So one person is allowed to leave once over the next 6 days. Fuck off. South Australian Premier Stephen Marshall, so they must have provinces, announced the restrictions at a media briefing Wednesday afternoon local time, saying that a circuit breaker was needed in order to keep the community safe. We cannot wait to see how bad this becomes. 5 whole cases in the entire country. Won't somebody please think of the children? We must act swiftly and decisively, authoritarian-esque, on the health advice to stay ahead of the game. And how you play it. That health advice is what we need: a circuit breaker. We need a circuit breaker to stay ahead of this, he added. If you keep saying it, eventually enough people will believe it. He said such measures are necessary to conduct a contract tracing blitz in order to Protect South Australians, particularly the vulnerable and elderly. And that's all you should be protecting, the vulnerable and the elderly. You shouldn't make everybody else suffer because of this. And you know what? If there was a huge spike in deaths, I'm not saying you should ever lock down because there's a huge spike in cases because I feel a little ill. We should all, kill the economy. But enough about that. Why did they have to enter this lockdown? Well, they trace the outbreak to a pizza parlor, and you are legitimately not going to fucking believe this. We had a fucking pizza parlor around here, like a few blocks away from my house. Somebody there had a fucking confirmed case of the coof, and they closed the business for 2 weeks, and then they came back, and we didn't shut down our entire province because of it. So, what? But here we go. I got to use CNN because we're all in for a good laugh here. A million workers lie. A pizza workers lie forced an Australian state of 1.7 million people into a lockdown. A lie forced 1.7 million people. And you know what? After they figured out it was a lie, guess what they did with the lockdown? They didn't lift it. Yep. Overreaction, guys. This is become, I hope one day we can look back at this and understand that it was the greatest overreaction in history, and all of these premiers, governors, presidents, prime ministers who impose these lockdowns never get voted for again. A pizza bar worker with COVID-19 who lied to their employment activities triggered a lockdown across an entire state of South Australia. Authorities were forced to admit Friday the state of 1.7 million people would not have gone into a 6-day circuit breaker, had the employee told the truth to the contact tracing team. South Australian Premier Stephen Marshall told a reporter at a press conference he announced the state had decided to lift its 6-day lockdown early based on new information. Oh, that's breaking, because they didn't when it was first reported that the lockdown was in place. So I guess somebody finally went like, hey guys, there's nothing here. Why the fuck are we locking down? Oh, just be safe. How about you check your sources? South Australian Police Commissioner Grant Stevens said officials had since learned that the person who claimed to have been at the Woodvale Pizza Bar in the city of Adelaide only briefly to collect a takeaway pizza was actually an employee who had been working regular shifts there. Authorities had previously concluded that the strain of COVID-19 was highly contagious, assuming the person had caught it despite very short period of exposure. They say follow the science, but again, they're just kind of picking and choosing what the fuck they're actually going to listen to. But, good news. If you're in southern Australia, I guess you're probably, out there enjoying the nice summer temperatures. Or is it still spring there? I guess it would still be spring there. Yeah. Going out to the beaches that you're not allowed to go to, wearing a mask out in public, even though the UV light is going to be as strongest at any point it has been in the past, 10 months. But that's, okay, that could be the funniest story, but now we got to do a 180 and go over to the UK. And talk about something that is very sad and very stupid. Metropolitan Chief Caressa Dick, I couldn't think of a more appropriate surname, warns number 10 police have other things to do than interrupting Christmas dinners, as Matt Hancock says hugging will be banned. Hugging will be banned, and families will have to stay socially distanced even if rules are relaxed. You might not have caught that. Matt Hancock says hugging will be banned. And he is the health secretary. So this isn't just a oh, okay, he is a nutcase. But he isn't just some random individual. Hugging. Can you believe it? I know I can't. Britain's most senior police officer today said she has no interest in interrupting family Christmas dinners. Okay, so I rescind my allegations that Caressa was appropriately named. I apologize for my hasty condemnation. Metropolitan Police Commissioner Dame Caressa Dick said the police has lots of other things to be doing, and she will not be encouraging my people to be barging through the people's doors or knocking on people's doors. However, she warned officers will be prepared to intervene if they are made aware of flagrant breaches of the restrictions, which are causing a lot of concerns with the neighbors. Oh my God, so you just get to live in this USSR style, state of fear where you're just worrying if you're going to get a knock on your door in the middle of the night because one of your neighbors and you got into a altercation earlier and they decided that you were saying something bad about the government, so they're going to send their fucking Gestapo through your front door and collect you and send you off to the gulag. But would they actually send somebody who is violating social distancing protocols in their own house into the prison? Are prisons being socially distanced? Because I know that they're fairly empty now, but I'm not too sure. See how fucking retarded you have to be in order to adhere to all of these bent out of shape logic loops that these, well, in Britain's case, unfortunately, well, you guys have a very weak leader at the moment. Sorry, Carl. But it's proven at this point the only thing that lockdowns are doing is just delaying the inevitable. And now that more people have tested positive for antibodies and testing is more widely available than it has been at any point in time, we're just finding out that more people have had it. Treatments are better. There's really no fucking need for these, like it says there at the very bottom, draconian measures. Yeah. I don't want to get thrown into an internment camp for saying that you should just go ahead and get rid of all of these ridiculous restrictions and don't bother adhering to them, and just, if you're scared or if you're, fearful of catching this or giving it to somebody that you care about, be as safe as you want to. Don't be as safe as they tell you should be. But that's been a constant message whenever I cover these COVID lockdown things. And take care of yourself. And that involves minding your own freedoms. But yeah, that's the news from abroad. It kind of stinks. It's kind of hilarious. And it's definitely as draconian as it gets. Yeah, anyways, guys, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.